It's been a heavy time to see the headlines, especially during this time of The Bachelorette being released, and it's supposed to be a really exciting time. I'm a person that will always speak my truth, and that's what I'm known for, and so when the time is right, I will be.
This didn't just leak by accident. It landed exactly when it could do the most damage. And once you really look at the timeline, it starts to feel like this entire situation didn't spiral. It was pushed.
This is getting out of hand. Now there are two of them.
Because what happened to Taylor Frankie Paul isn't just a scandal anymore. This turned into a full-blown collapse, and it happened in real time, right in front of everyone, including ABC. And the wildest part, ABC didn't cancel her season because they wanted to. They canceled it because they had no choice. But to understand why, you have to go back to the beginning of this mess and what they ignored. When Taylor was announced as The Bachelorette, people were already side-eyeing it. Not just because of her past, but because of what we literally just saw on TV. On The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she was still clearly emotionally tied to Dakota Morrison. We're talking late-night calls, unresolved feelings, even seeing each other right before she left to film.
Stand up!
Fans weren't just skeptical, they were questioning the entire premise. How are you supposed to find love on a dating show when you haven't let go of the last relationship? But here's the thing, that alone didn't stop production. ABC moved forward anyway. The show was filmed. There was even reportedly an engagement at the end.
Oh, that's not...
So clearly, whatever concerns were there, they weren't enough to shut it down. At least, not yet. Because everything changed when the timeline started catching up to her. In February, reports start coming out about another serious argument between Taylor and Dakota. It's messy, it's under investigation, but at this point, it's still just headlines. Then March hits, and suddenly everything starts stacking on top of each other. The reports go public, fans start digging deeper, questions get louder. And then, right in the middle of all of that, a video appears. Not just any video, a past incident. Something that had already been talked about before, but never actually seen like this.
You want to throw that on real quick?
What's up?
I just want to be able to talk to you without you two bickering at each other.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
So go ahead, like you can sit or whichever.
Okay.
So what's your name?
Taylor.
Taylor. I'm Officer Rudebrecht with the Harriman Police Department.
Okay.
The neighbors called in saying they heard a bunch of yelling.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry again.
And that's the difference, because once people could see it, the entire narrative flipped overnight. This wasn't about speculation anymore. This wasn't about he said, she said. The internet reacted instantly. And it wasn't quiet. Within hours, ABC pulled the plug.
What?
It's gone. It's all gone.
Not delayed, not under review, completely canceled. And that kind of move, that almost never happens this late in the game. We're talking about a fully filmed season. Promotions ready, money already spent. That's not a small decision. That's a network going into damage control mode. Because at that point, it wasn't just about Taylor anymore. It was about the brand. The backlash wasn't slowing down. It was accelerating. And ABC had to decide very quickly what mattered more, the show or their reputation. But here's where things get even more complicated, because while the public was reacting to the video, something else was happening behind the scenes. Two completely different narratives started forming. On one side, Taylor's team is saying this was a targeted move, that this video didn't randomly surface. It was released strategically to harm her, to damage her career, and to control the narrative. On the other side, Dakota is denying those claims and focusing on his own version of events. And right in the middle of it all, the media, because the timing is what people can't stop talking about. Reports of videos being shown to friends, followed by a major outlet suddenly obtaining that footage, just days after the story starts gaining traction.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
That's not something people are ignoring. It starts to feel less like a coincidence and more like a rollout. And fans picked up on that immediately. But then there's one detail that makes this even harder to ignore, because before any of this fully exploded, Taylor hinted that something was coming. In a podcast conversation, it was mentioned that she told someone the attention on them would shift soon, which is in because she had something about to come out about her. At the time, that probably didn't mean much, but now it hits completely different.
I mean, she was throwing the chair at you, which almost hit her child, right?
Yeah.
How soon into the relationship did her arrest happen?
I think it was 4 or 5 months in.
I mean, she was throwing the chair at you, which almost hit her child, right?
Yeah. That night was, I mean, you want to talk about being like in a position of what do you do? That's how it felt. I think being a guy in that situation it was really scary for me. And
so just the fact that like it's a domestic dispute and cops are being called, you're immediately...
Dude, 1,000%. I didn't know it was going to happen.
What started it?
Well, she was hammered. And when people get really drunk, right, it can go in phases of like emotional to then anger. Like it will change. When I picked her up from this party, she just was like, crying, breaking down, and just hated herself for kind of, I think everything she did. I think with like, her family, like losing everything. When I got to her house, I was trying to carry her in the house. With my luck, there's a person that's going on a walk at night that is walking around the corner, and Taylor is just crying. So I had to just make sure I told that person, even like, I'm like, hey, she's just really drunk. Like, I'm just trying to get her in the house. I get her to the front door. It's locked. And then she's like, oh, my keys are in my truck at the party. So I put her back in the car, drove all the way back to the party, grabbed the keys, then came all the way back. This is where things changed. And the other part of her came out. The anger part, like it was so fast when it switched. But when I got there, I pulled into her garage and parked. And obviously, like coming back, I mean, she was, when she was like broken, I was just immediately like, okay, I'm going to just try to take care of you, get you in the house. When we got into the house, when I came back, like the sitters, like it was immediately like so chaotic that like even I told them, I was like, hey, she's just really drunk. I'm going to try to just get her to bed. The second they walked out the door, it was, it just turned into the most craziest. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just
I will say we had Taylor on. She opened up a lot about her version of this night. She expressed extreme remorse and regret for all of her actions. So I don't want us to like talk about this in a way of like, it was just more so I was curious on your side and how you remember that night to have happened.
Because it raises a question no one can really answer yet. Did she know how big this was going to be? Or did she think she could get ahead of it?
I may be wrong, but I doubt it.
And that's where this whole situation becomes less about one video and more about everything surrounding it. The timing, the media involvement, the network reaction, the sudden collapse of something that was already finished. Because the truth is, this didn't fall apart slowly. It collapsed all at once. And now, ABC is left dealing with the fallout. The cast is stepping back. Filming is paused. And Taylor's future on reality TV is suddenly very uncertain.
Everybody, in light of everything that's happened, I'm just sending out prayers to Taylor, because that was her moment, and her moment was blocked. So, all we can do right now is just be hopeful, and I'm headed off to run to watch the sunrise.
But the biggest question still hasn't gone away. Was this always going to happen eventually? Or did the timing make it inevitable? Because if that video had dropped earlier, maybe the show never gets filmed. If it dropped later, maybe the season airs before the backlash hits. But it didn't. It dropped at the exact moment where it could do the most damage possible. And that's why this doesn't feel random. It feels like everything collided at once, and there was no way out of it. So now I want to know what you think. Do you believe this was just bad timing? Or do you think there was something bigger going on behind the scenes?